I never thought I'd be the guy telling this kind of story. You always hear about cheating spouses, about betrayal, but it's something that happens to other people, never to you, never to me. But life has a cruel sense of humor. And what I walked into that night wasn't just betrayal. It was something much worse. Let me back up. My name's Jake, and until 2 months ago, I had a wife I adored and a brother I trusted. I thought my life was solid, married to Amanda for 5 years, working a good job in finance, living in a house we'd worked hard to make a home. My younger brother, Matt, had always been close with us. He was the easygoing fun guy, the one with the dumb jokes and wild stories. He'd been dating this girl, Lisa, for about a year, and I actually thought they had something real. I had no reason to be suspicious of Amanda. Sure, things had been off lately. She was on her phone more, going out with her friends a lot, but I chalked it up to stress. Work had been kicking my ass, and maybe I hadn't been giving her enough attention. Relationships go through rough patches, right? That's what I told myself. Then came the business trip. I was supposed to fly out to Chicago for a conference, 3 days, 2 nights. Amanda kissed me goodbye like she always did, told me to text when I landed. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but fate had other plans. An hour after I got to the airport, my flight was canceled due to bad weather. They offered to reschedule me for the next morning, but I figured, screw it. I'd just work from home for a day, catch up on emails. And since Amanda thought I was out of town, I had this idea. Why not surprise her? Maybe take her out to dinner, remind her of us, of what we had. Bring back that spark. I didn't call or text. I wanted to see the look on her face when I walked through the door. I pulled into our driveway just after 9 p.m. The house was dark, except for the soft, flickering glow from our bedroom window. For a second I smiled, thinking maybe she had gone to bed early. Maybe I'd slip in beside her, pull her close, whisper something stupid in her ear like a scene from a cheesy romance movie. I unlocked the door and stepped inside quietly. The air smelled of vanilla candles, her favorite. The house felt warm, safe, familiar. Then I heard it. A sound that didn't belong. A sound that sent a cold, electric shock through my spine. I froze in the hallway, my pulse hammering. At first, my brain refused to process it. It wasn't real. It couldn't be. But then I heard his voice. Matt. Laughter. A murmur. Then Amanda's voice, breathless. Teasing. I don't even remember climbing the stairs. My body moved on its own, driven by something primal, something raw and unrelenting. The bedroom door was cracked open just enough for me to see inside. And there they were. Amanda. My wife. With Matt. My brother. I must have made a sound because Amanda's head snapped toward the door, her eyes widening in horror, color draining from her face. Matt turned too, his expression a twisted mess of shocking guilt. But not enough. Not nearly enough. For a few seconds, none of us moved. The air was thick, suffocating. Then I stepped inside. Time slowed. My ears rang. My heart slammed against my ribs, but I didn't say a word. Amanda yanked the sheets over herself like that would somehow erase what I had just seen. As if covering up her body could cover up the betrayal. Matt sat frozen on the edge of the bed, eyes darting between us, his face caught between fear and regret. I gripped the doorframe so hard my knuckles went white. Amanda was the first to break. Jake, she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. I held up a hand. Don't. Just that. Cold. Final. Matt, still shirtless, swallowed hard. He shifted like he wanted to say something, to explain. But what could he possibly say? Bro, he started. I cut him off. You don't get to bro me. My voice was steady, quiet, dangerous. Amanda reached for me, but I stepped back before she could touch me, like her skin might burn me. Jake, please let me explain. I let out a short, bitter laugh. Oh, this should be good. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. What could she say? There was no lie, no excuse that could erase the image seared into my mind. Amanda, in our bed, with my own brother. A sick feeling churned in my stomach. My hands curled into fists at my sides. I wanted to hit something. Hit him, tear him apart for what he had done. But I wasn't going to give them that. I turned to Matt instead. How long? He hesitated. And that second of silence told me everything. How long? I repeated, my voice like ice. Amanda sucked in a sharp breath. tears streaming down her face, but I wasn't looking at her. My focus was locked onto the coward in front of me. The same guy I had grown up with, shared childhood memories with, trusted. Matt dropped his gaze. "A few months," he muttered. Bile rose in my throat. Months. I clenched my jaw so hard it ached. I wanted to break his face, make him feel even a fraction of what I felt. But I forced myself to stay still. "And Lisa?" I asked, my voice flat. "Does she know?" His head snapped up, his face going pale. Yeah, that's what I thought. Lisa, the girl who had been nothing but good to him, who actually believed he was a decent person, had no idea. Amanda sobbed. "Jake, please. We can work through this." I laughed. A sharp, humorless sound. "Work through this?" I repeated, shaking my head. "Amanda, you didn't just cheat. You slept with my brother. In our bed." My voice rose, fury slipping through my control. "How the hell do you think we work through that?" She kept crying. Kept saying my name like that would change something. Like it would undo what had already been done. But nothing could. There was nothing left to save. Matt sat on the edge of the bed, looking pathetic, like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar. As if this was just some mistake he could apologize for and move past. I turned to him, my voice low, sharp as a blade. "You." He swallowed hard. "Get the hell out of my house." "Jake." "Out. Now." Matt scrambled, grabbing his clothes from the floor, fumbling to put them on. Amanda sobbed harder, her voice breaking as she reached for me. "Jake, please. Can we just talk?" I didn't even look at her. The moment Matt was dressed, I pointed to the door. "Go." He hesitated, eyes flickering toward Amanda, maybe looking for some kind of support. But there was nothing left to say. One look at me and he bolted, disappearing down the stairs. A second later, the front door slammed shut. Amanda tried again, stepping closer, her hands trembling. I stepped back. "You have 1 hour to pack a bag and leave," she gasped, shaking her head, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. "What? No, Jake, 1 hour." I didn't yell. I didn't need to. My voice carried enough venom to make her flinch. She tried pleading, sobbing, grasping at words like they could somehow erase what had happened. But I wasn't listening. I turned and walked out, grabbing my keys off the counter. I needed air. I needed space before I did something I'd regret. As I pulled out of the driveway and onto the empty streets, one thought burned through the storm in my mind. Matt thought he could betray me and walk away unscathed. He had no idea what was coming. I drove for hours that night, the betrayal clawing at me, a sickening mix of rage and disbelief. My wife. My brother. Months. How many times had I sat across from them at dinner, completely unaware? How many times had I laughed at Matt's dumb jokes, while he was sneaking around with my wife behind my back? By the time I pulled into a motel parking lot at 2 in the morning, my blood had cooled just enough to start thinking clearly. The old me, the one who trusted people, who believed in love, was gone. The man who walked into that bedroom had died the second he saw the truth. And now all I wanted was revenge. Not some reckless, heat-of-the-moment kind of revenge. No, I wanted something that would stick. Something that would make Matt and Amanda feel even a fraction of the betrayal they had dumped on me. And that's when it hit me. Lisa, Matt's girlfriend, the woman he had also been lying to for months. I pulled out my phone, my grip tightening around it. She deserved to know. More than that, I wanted her to know. I wanted Matt to feel what it was like to be stabbed in the back by someone he trusted. I found Lisa's number and hesitated for only a second before pressing call. She answered on the third ring, her voice groggy from sleep. "Hey Jake, what's up?" I took a deep breath. "Lisa, I need to tell you something. And I need you to listen carefully." Something in my tone must have woken her up completely, because I heard the rustle of sheets as she sat up. "What's wrong?" So I told her. At first she didn't believe me. "No," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Matt wouldn't, he wouldn't." "He did." My voice was steady, hard. "I walked in on them. In my bed, Lisa." Silence. Then a strangled gasp. "Oh my God," she cried. And as messed up as it was, hearing her pain made me feel a little less alone. Because she got it. She understood. When she finally spoke again, her voice had changed. It was cold. Hard. "I want in." I frowned. "What?" I want in. On whatever you're planning. I hadn't even told her I had a plan. But maybe she could feel it. The way I could feel the shift inside myself. So we talked. And that was when my revenge truly began. The first time I saw Matt after that night was at my parents' house. I had gone low contact with them, keeping my distance because I knew Amanda had probably run crying to them, spinning some sob story about how I had overreacted. Sure enough, when I finally showed up, my mom pulled me aside, her eyes pleading. "She made a mistake, Jake," she said gently. "You two can fix this." I laughed. Actually laughed in her face. "Mom, she didn't just cheat," I said, shaking my head. "She did it with Matt." That shut her up real quick. And speaking of Matt, when he saw me walk into the house, hand in hand with Lisa, his face drained of color. "Yeah, that's right. Lisa and I had been dating for the last month." Was it real? Not exactly, but it was convincing enough. And judging by the way Matt's hands clenched into fists and his jaw twitched, it was working. Amanda was there too. I felt her eyes on me the whole time. Her expression a mixture of shock and something else. Something that almost looked like jealousy. Like she had any right to feel that way. Lisa played her part perfectly. She smiled at me, touched my arm, laughed at my jokes. And when we kissed, just a small teasing brush of lips, I thought Matt was going to explode. Good. He deserved to know what it felt like to have something taken from him. Dinner was awkward as hell. My parents kept trying to smooth things over. But no one was really talking. Just the sound of forks scraping against plates and tension. So thick it was suffocating. Finally Matt snapped. "Are you serious right now?" He threw his fork down, glaring at me. I raised an eyebrow. "Something wrong? You're dating my ex?" His voice was sharp, furious. I leaned back in my chair, smirking. "Oh, now it's a problem? I mean, you were fine sleeping with my wife." Mom gasped. Dad cursed under his breath. Lisa just sipped her wine, looking way too pleased with herself. Matt's face turned red. "That's different." I let out a low chuckle. "Oh, is it?" He had no answer. Because there wasn't one. Amanda shifted uncomfortably, her eyes darting between us. She looked miserable. "Good." Lisa tilted her head, her smile sharp. "You know," she said sweetly, "I thought I'd be more upset about you cheating on me, Matt. But honestly, upgrading to Jake has been the best decision of my life." Matt's hands curled into fists on the table. His eyes flicked toward Amanda, but she wouldn't meet his gaze. This was just the beginning. By the time I was done, neither of them would have a place in my life. And I was going to enjoy every second of it. Matt's face was priceless. The same guy who had no problem sneaking around with my wife suddenly couldn't handle the idea of me dating his ex. The irony was almost laughable. Almost. Lisa and I exchanged a quick glance. We had rehearsed this moment. This was phase 1, public humiliation. Phase 2. That was going to be even better. Amanda barely touched her food, shifting in her seat, stealing glances at me when she thought I wouldn't notice. Maybe she had expected me to be miserable, drowning in heartbreak. Maybe she thought I'd be begging for an explanation, grasping for closure. She was dead wrong. I wasn't the same man she had betrayed. Matt finally found his voice, though it was strained, cracking under the weight of his own guilt. "You're just doing this to get back at me." I smirked. Mom gasped. "Jake." I shrugged, leaning back in my chair. Why should I pretend otherwise? Matt didn't care when he was sneaking around behind my back. Amanda didn't care when she was lying to my face. So tell me, why should I care now? The silence was deafening. Lisa set her wine glass down, crossing her legs, her voice dripping with amusement. "For the record, Matt, you were never that great of a boyfriend. If I had known what a real man was like sooner, I would have left you ages ago." Matt shot up from his chair so fast that it scraped against the floor, his face burning with fury, fists clenched at his sides. "This is sick," he spat. I laughed, slow and deliberate. "No, Matt. What you did was sick. This." I gestured between Lisa and myself. "This is karma." He stormed out without another word, the door slamming so hard that Amanda flinched. Lisa smiled. I took another bite of my steak. One down. One to go. Over the next few weeks, I made sure Matt and Amanda felt the weight of what they had done. First, Amanda. She got served with divorce papers at her workplace. No warning. No drawn-out conversations. Just cold, legal reality slamming onto her desk in front of her coworkers. I made sure the paperwork included an itemized list of every instance of infidelity I had proof of, including the exact night I walked in on them. She tried calling. I blocked her. She tried showing up at my house. I had already changed the locks. She had the audacity to text me one last time. Jake, please. I made a mistake. Can't we at least talk? I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded her message to Lisa. Lisa responded with a laughing emoji. As for Matt, well, let's just say his life took a downward spiral real fast. Lisa made sure the world knew exactly what he had done. His friends, most of them cut him off. His social life, ruined. His relationship with our parents, strained at best. Even his boss found out. Turns out, his company wasn't too keen on employees who lacked integrity. He got demoted within a month. And then came the final nail in the coffin. Lisa and I made sure Matt saw us together. Everywhere. We showed up at his favorite bar. We made appearances at mutual friends' gatherings. We even took a happy couple selfie at the exact restaurant where he had taken Amanda on one of their secret dates. Petty. Absolutely. But it felt so damn good. The last time I saw Matt was at a family event a few weeks later. He looked like hell. Tired. Bitter. Furious. Lisa and I didn't even need to say anything. The moment we walked in together, his whole body tensed, his jaw tightening as he swallowed down whatever anger was eating him alive. Amanda wasn't there. I had heard through the grapevine that she had moved out of state, claiming she needed a fresh start. Funny how cheaters always wanted to run away when they got caught. Good riddance. Lisa and I eventually parted ways, not on bad terms. We had done what we set out to do. The truth was we were never meant to be together. We were just two people who had been burned by the same betrayal, walking through the ashes side by side. One night over drinks she smiled at me and said, I think we got the last laugh. Yeah, we did. I never looked back after that. I cut Matt and Amanda out of my life for good. No second chances. No apologies accepted. And let me tell you, it felt amazing.